Good morning, everybody. This is Sarah Lewis, Girl Experience Program Manager out of the Lexington office for the Girl Scouts of Kentucky's Wilderness Road Council. We are going to get started here in just a minute with the Brownie My Family Story badge. I am going to touch on a lot of different points for the Brownie My Family Story badge today. You might be able to finish this one at home. While you're stuck at home, I think that I'm going to be able to get you guys engaged in a few different steps for this one. So again, I am Sarah Lewis, Girl Experience Program Manager out of the Lexington office for the Girl Scouts of Kentucky's Wilderness Road Council. And today we're going to talk about the Brownie My Family Story badge. If you can hear me okay, please go ahead and say something in the chat. Tell me where you're from. Tell me your troop number. Tell me if you're really excited for this one, if you are a girl watching, if you're an adult who's hoping to take this back to their girls to talk about it later. But I think this is a really fun one to do. Hi, Emily. Everybody tell me where you're from. Good morning, Ruby. Make sure you put your troop number in there. We love to see when we have people out of state that are on. We love to see how many different people from all across our council are watching. And again, we're going to get started here in just a minute with the Brownie My Family Story badge. While we're waiting for a few people to get logged on, I wanted to, of course, mention all of the awesome resources we have for our girls while we are working on things at home. We have tried to get videos, either Facebook Live or pre-recorded stuff from our staff, posted daily. Hopefully you all have caught some of that, but if you haven't, we are doing it every day, and we're trying to make sure that we keep that programming up for you all so that you are staying engaged and feeling a part of our Girl Scout sisterhood, even though we are not necessarily being able to meet in person. So hopefully you're able to tune into these videos every day. We have them posted in each event after we have finished our Facebook Live video. It's always recorded there. We also have our YouTube channel that there's a playlist that you can go to and watch everything back. So if you missed something, or if there's a project that you knew you wanted to work on that we worked on, you can find it there as well. But I did want to mention again our Girl Scouts of Kentucky's Wilderness Road website, because we have a lot of Girl Scout at home activities that you can work on. So if you go to gskentucky.org and you click on events and activities, you will see that there is a tab called Girl Scouts at Home. If you click on that, we have a ton of work for you all to do. We have badges that you can explore. We have online journeys that you can work on. We have learning about highest awards, which we've done a couple of videos for that. Thank you, Noelle, for sharing our YouTube playlist. We just recently actually earned something that's called Pray Virtual, which is a way for girls to learn more about their My Promise, My Faith pin. So check it out, because we have a ton of different resources on there, a huge variety of things. So whatever your girls are interested in, if they are really missing that Girl Scout experience right now, send them here, because there's so much that they can work on. So with that, we have a good amount of people on. Good morning, everybody. If you're just tuning in, please tell us where you're from, what your troop number is, because we are really excited to see everybody this morning. And we are going to get started with our Brownie My Family Story badge. So the first step to this badge is to explore your family stories. So if your family is anything like mine at all, you all have stories that get told over and over again, just silly things that happened, or maybe scary things that happened. Hi, Bobby from Louisiana. If we have something that happens when we're kids, sometimes that's what follows us around. So exploring family stories can be really fun, but maybe you hear this story over and over again and don't really think about what's called the context of the story. So what was happening in the world when this story happened? So if you have a funny family story where your brother tried to crawl out of his crib and he got stuck and you saved him right at the right moment, you could think, okay, so I was maybe 5 or 6 years old, but mom and dad were in their 30s. And so you can think, okay, even though I've known these people, these family members, my entire life, what was their life like before I was even around, right? So that's kind of strange to think about sometimes, and we don't even really acknowledge it. Sometimes we don't explore that idea that there things happened before we were even around. So how old was your family when this story that you will always tell happened? What was the world like? Were we able to go outside still and see each other? Were they friends with certain people that you got to see all the time? And why do you think this is a memorable story? So think of this story that your family always tells, whether it's funny or scary or goofy, and think, okay, why do we remember this so well? Is it because we always laugh about it? Is it because it means something to us? Is it because it shows us how much we love each other? Hi, Karen. Hi, Sierra. So I think most of my family stories are just funny. I think a lot of them are really goofy, and so that's why they stick in our heads so well. But explore your family stories. Go ahead and write down some ideas right now of stories that maybe they're embarrassing and maybe you don't love that they get told all the time, but go ahead and write them down and decide who you might ask about them later and say, okay, this is a story that I know pretty well, but really what else was going on when this was happening and what else happened that day that we can talk about. Now, the next part of this badge is to know where your family is from. And I meant to say at the beginning that we do have to fully acknowledge that not everybody's family looks the same. We don't look the same in terms of sometimes skin color or hair, and we also don't look the same in terms of family structure. Some people have two parents, some people have one, and some live with a guardian or a grandparent or another family member, and that's okay. Everybody's family is their family. So I just wanted to make sure to touch on that and remind everybody that when we do share out, it's important to be respectful that everybody's family looks different. So know where you're from. What countries have your family lived in before? Where before you lived, where you live now, have your family members been? For example, I know that my family, up to my grandparents at least, were all born in the United States, but before that, we have family on both sides from different countries. So we have my mom's side, my mom's mom is Italian, and my mom's dad is Irish. So she's done a lot of digging to figure out what our family history looks like and what countries and towns we are really from a long time ago. So that's really cool. Whereas on my dad's side, it's a little bit trickier, and we know that we have family from Europe, maybe from Wales, but it's hard to track sometimes. So you have to do some digging. We have the detective badge, obviously, for our juniors. So it could be something that you explore even more deeply as you get older. Maybe you want to work on your junior detective badge and you can start doing some digging on your family history, because it can really be very cool to get a lead and decide, okay, I'm going to figure out exactly what little tiny village in Italy our family was from over 100 years ago. So what countries are your family members from? What helped shape your traditions and your culture? So for my family, every Thanksgiving, instead of making a turkey, we make a huge sheet pan of lasagna. And that is probably the best meal of the year. And we do that because we have this Italian recipe that has been passed down from person to person. And right now, that tradition is something that's passed down to myself and my cousins, and we every November get together and we build this huge pan of lasagna. And I think that's kind of unique. Maybe there are other families out there that do something similar, but that's something that is very unique for me, for my family. So think about where your family is from and how that maybe has helped to shape your culture and your traditions. What does your family do that is unique, and what holidays does your family celebrate? Do you all have a particular religion that you all follow, or are there different religions that different family members follow? So ask these questions to your extended family too. Whoever you know you can get information out of, that you have any sort of relation to, talk to them, because everybody has a different perspective. Even if you have a guardian who isn't your biological parent, you can still talk to them about their history. Talk to whoever you'd like to talk to, just to get some background and think about generations. So if you do have a parent or a guardian to talk to them about, if they have any siblings, what their perspective might be. So for me, I have my dad, and he has 3 siblings, and even though they grew up in the same household, maybe they had different perspectives. Maybe they each knew their grandparents a little differently. So although they might all know the same factual information, like the grandparents' names and maybe where they lived, maybe they had different experiences with them that they can share in different stories. So there is an activity to do with all of this, and that is making a story tree. I made one that's a little rough looking, and I don't know that you guys will be able to see it very well, but I made my family tree. It's hard to tell because it's on patterned paper, but it's what I had. So what you can do is something similar to this. Yeah, I don't know that you guys are really going to be able to see it very well, but you might have seen a family tree before. You can start with yourself if you would like, and build up and just try to think, okay, I know who's taking care of me right now. I know who my immediate family is. And then I'm going to talk to them about who they grew up with, and then who they grew up with. And you can list all of these people out and make it into a really cool tree. And you can actually get really creative with this. I have done one before that is made with an actual tree branch, where you use yarn and you string up people's names, and you can see everybody that you're connected to just through your family. So make a family tree, a story tree. If you would rather do this with the story that you're thinking about today, the funny or scary or dramatic story that you're thinking of, you can map it out and use the different parts of that story to turn that into your family story tree instead. Either way, we would really love if you guys would share this with us. And I think we try to mention these hashtags in every video. They are hashtag KY Girl Scouts, hashtag KY Girl Scouts at Home, hashtag Team Kentucky, and hashtag Healthy at Home. So use those as you're making these story trees. And if you're in the comments right now, please share some funny stories with us. If you have a really fun or wholesome story, I think we could all use more of that these days. So if you have a really funny story that you're thinking of, that you think you can type out really quickly in the comments, share it with us right now so that we can laugh at it and see something nice and bright and funny on our Tuesday. So I did want to touch on one last step of the Brownie My Family Story Badge before wrapping up today, and that is to find an object of importance to your family. Some people, especially kids, have like really important objects to them, right? I had a stuffed dog that I took with me everywhere when I was a kid, and a lot of people have blankets, and so I actually have too many weird family stories to count, Karen, I get that. I actually have had, I've been lucky because my granny on my dad's side, she is a quilter, and she has made a quilt for every one of our cousins, each one of her grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And so I wanted to share that with you guys today because she does a really great job. And this is my quilt. So you can see it has lots of different patterns in it. And she went with definitely like a floral theme here, but we get a quilt, our cousins, every time there's a new kid, or if we get married, and she is wonderful at making these. And so that's a really great family heirloom that I have. Well, it's not really an heirloom, but it is for me now. It's starting to be an heirloom because I've had it for a while, but we each have these quilts, each one of my family members. And so that's something that really bonds us to her, and something that shows us just a gift full of love that took a ton of time to make. So go and find an object of importance, whether it's just to you or to your family. You can ask your family members, hey, did you keep anything that is super important to you because it's associated with our family? Sometimes that's pieces of furniture, sometimes it's dishware, but people keep lots of different things. So go and ask and see if there's anything that your family keeps, anything that is gifted within your family a lot. And those can be really cool, important historical objects. So try to ask around a lot of questions to your family. Sometimes we get stuck just feeling like, yeah, I know I love my family, right? But you don't necessarily ask important questions like, what was it like when you grew up? Did you have TV? Did you have Wi-Fi? So get these family stories. Think about the different times that your family members have lived through, and really get some good stories that you can share with your friends, that you can share with your maybe your Girl Scout troop when we get to meeting again. And then think about a story that you have lived through too. So if you are a girl and you have a funny story that isn't necessarily the one that your family always tells, but one that you really think of and value, maybe that's one that you should start telling, and maybe that's one that you can make your story tree about. So I'm looking at the comments here. Julie, your grandma makes quilt too. That's awesome. And Cassia has 2 handmade mommy blankets. That's awesome. Yes, we love quilts. They're so comfortable, and they last forever. So I have this, and I will always think of my granny when I have it and when I use it. So it's a really important object to me. So you guys should go out, call your family members, FaceTime them. You probably could use some family contact anyway to brighten your day. Talk to them about what stories they have. Learn more about where they are from, what they know about where your family has been and your family history. No matter what your family looks like, try to learn more about it and then share that story out to us if you want to. Use our Girl Scout hashtags, which are hashtag KY Girl Scouts, hashtag KY Girl Scouts at home, and then our Kentucky hashtags, which we would love for you guys to share, hashtag Team Kentucky and hashtag Healthy at Home. Again, just before I close out, I want to mention those Girl Scout at Home activities. Again, on our website, which is at events and activities, and then Girl Scouts at Home. We have a ton of stuff on there, you guys. So if you have any extra free time, get on there. It's totally worth it to explore what we have available to you. And again, that's gskentucky.org for that. So thank you all so much for tuning in today, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this, and I hope that we see a ton of story trees being shared out, and even funny stories that your family tells all the time, and you can still use our hashtags so that we can look through them. Awesome. Thank you all so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.